Imagine a world where we could decide when and where it rains, prevent hurricanes, and create sunny days on demand. It might sound like science fiction, but weather manipulation is no longer confined to the realm of fantasy. It's a reality, and it's been happening for decades. But can we truly control the weather, and more importantly, should we? The science behind weather manipulation is fascinating, but it raises significant ethical questions that can't be ignored. In this video, we'll explore the controversial world of weather modification, uncover the science behind it, and delve into the ethical dilemmas it presents. Is controlling the weather a solution to our problems, or could it create new ones? The origins of weather manipulation, or the deliberate modification of weather patterns, is not a new concept. The idea dates back to ancient civilizations. Native American tribes performed rain dances, and other cultures had rituals aimed at influencing weather. These practices, of course, were based on spiritual beliefs rather than science, but they show that the desire to control the weather has been around for centuries. The first scientific attempt to modify weather occurred in the 1940s with the discovery of cloud seeding. The process was developed by American chemist Vincent Schaefer in 1946. By dispersing chemicals like silver iodide into the atmosphere, scientists found they could encourage cloud formation and precipitation. While the results were inconsistent, this breakthrough opened the door to modern weather control experiments. Cloud seeding was used in Operation Popeye during the Vietnam War to extend the monsoon season, a controversial move that highlights the darker side of weather manipulation. The project aimed to flood enemy supply routes, but it also led to unintended environmental consequences. This early example of weather manipulation was kept secret for years, raising ethical concerns about the military use of such technology. The science of cloud seeding remains the most widely used form of weather manipulation today. But how exactly does it work? To understand this, let's break down the science behind it. Clouds form when moist air rises and cools, causing water vapor to condense into tiny droplets. These droplets then combine to form larger drops that eventually fall as rain. In cloud seeding, scientists introduce particles like silver iodide or potassium iodide into the atmosphere to act as nuclei for water vapor to condense around. This increases the likelihood of rain or snow. According to the National Center for Atmospheric Research, cloud seeding can increase precipitation by 5% to 15%. However, the effectiveness depends on the atmospheric conditions. It's not a guaranteed method, and the impact is relatively small. Countries like China, the United States, and Russia have invested heavily in cloud seeding projects, especially for agricultural purposes and disaster mitigation. During the 2008 Beijing Olympics, China famously used cloud seeding to clear the skies and prevent rain, ensuring a sunny opening ceremony. But is cloud seeding a form of weather control, or merely a way to nudge natural processes? Geoengineering, the next frontier of weather control. While cloud seeding is aimed at small-scale changes like encouraging rain, geoengineering takes weather control to a whole new level. Geoengineering involves large-scale interventions in Earth's climate systems to combat global warming. One of the most well-known geoengineering proposals is solar radiation management, SRM, which seeks to reflect sunlight away from the Earth to cool the planet. Scientists have proposed injecting aerosols into the stratosphere to mimic the effects of volcanic eruptions, which naturally cool the Earth by reflecting sunlight. After the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in 1991, global temperatures dropped by about 0.5 degrees Celsius for 2 years. SRM aims to replicate this effect, but on a larger scale. While geoengineering may offer a way to slow down global warming, it also comes with significant risks. For one, it doesn't address the root causes of climate change, like greenhouse gas emissions. Additionally, SRM could lead to unpredictable weather patterns and even exacerbate existing inequalities, as certain regions might benefit from cooling, while others could suffer from unintended consequences such as droughts or more intense storms. According to a 2021 report by the National Academy of Sciences, geoengineering should only be considered as a last resort due to the potential risks involved. The ethics of weather manipulation. The ethical implications of weather manipulation are vast and complex. While the idea of controlling the weather may seem like a potential solution to issues like droughts, hurricanes, and climate change, it also raises significant moral questions. Who gets to decide when and where to manipulate the weather? What happens if one country's actions have negative consequences for another? Let's consider the example of cloud seeding in China. In 2019, reports surfaced that neighboring countries, such as India, were concerned about China's large-scale cloud seeding efforts. If one country can manipulate the weather to their advantage, it could have serious diplomatic implications. Furthermore, altering the weather in one region could lead to unintended consequences elsewhere. This is known as the butterfly effect, the idea that small changes in one part of a system can lead to significant changes elsewhere. There are also concerns about the environmental impact of weather manipulation. Silver iodide, commonly used in cloud seeding, is a toxic substance. While studies have shown that the levels used in cloud seeding are not harmful to humans or wildlife, the long-term effects of releasing these chemicals into the atmosphere are not fully understood. Some scientists worry that widespread use of cloud seeding could have unintended ecological consequences, disrupting natural weather patterns and affecting ecosystems. Can we use weather control to fight climate change? Given the increasing urgency of the climate crisis, some scientists and policymakers have suggested using weather manipulation as a tool to mitigate its effects. For example, cloud seeding could be used to create rain in drought-stricken areas, while geoengineering techniques like SRM could cool the planet and slow down global warming. But can these methods really make a difference in the fight against climate change? The answer is complicated. While weather manipulation techniques could offer short-term solutions, they don't address the root causes of climate change, such as carbon emissions. Furthermore, the potential risks and unintended consequences of these technologies make them a controversial option. Many scientists argue that we should focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions rather than trying to hack the planet's climate systems. In 2020, a study published in the journal Environmental Research Letters found that while geoengineering could theoretically reduce global temperatures, it would not solve the problem of ocean acidification, one of the most serious consequences of climate change. This highlights the limitations of weather manipulation as a tool for addressing climate change. The military's role in weather manipulation has long been of interest to the military, as evidenced by Operation Popeye during the Vietnam War. But military interest in controlling the weather goes beyond history. In the 1990s, the US Air Force published a report titled, "Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025. The report outlined how weather control could be used as a strategic advantage in warfare, from creating floods to disorient enemies to causing droughts in enemy territory. The idea of weaponizing weather is deeply controversial, not only because of the ethical implications but also because of international treaties. The 1977 Environmental Modification Convention, signed by 48 countries including the US, prohibits the use of environmental modification techniques for hostile purposes. However, this hasn't stopped countries from exploring the possibilities of weather manipulation for defense purposes. In recent years, conspiracy theories have circulated about the US government's alleged use of weather control technology, particularly in connection with HAARP, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. While HAARP's official purpose is to study the ionosphere, some believe it is being used to manipulate the weather, despite a lack of credible evidence. Weather control and disaster prevention. One of the most appealing aspects of weather control is its potential to prevent natural disasters. Hurricanes, floods, and droughts cause billions of dollars in damage each year and claim thousands of lives. If we could control the weather, could we reduce the impact of these disasters? In theory, yes. Cloud seeding could be used to prevent droughts, while geoengineering could potentially weaken hurricanes by cooling sea surface temperatures. In fact, some scientists have suggested that geoengineering could be used to prevent the most extreme impacts of climate change, including rising sea levels and more intense storms. But as with all weather manipulation techniques, the risks are significant. In 2013, China's attempts at cloud seeding led to severe flooding in some areas, raising concerns about the unintended consequences of tampering with natural systems. Furthermore, using weather control to prevent one disaster could inadvertently cause another. For example, reducing the intensity of hurricanes might lead to droughts in regions that rely on the rain brought by these storms. What does the future hold for weather control? As climate change accelerates and natural disasters become more frequent and severe, the pressure to find solutions will only increase. Weather control technologies will likely play a role in the future, but their use will need to be carefully regulated to prevent unintended consequences. In 2020, the United Nations called for greater transparency and international cooperation on geoengineering projects, recognizing the potential risks they pose. But even as scientists continue to develop new weather control technologies, it's important to remember that there are no quick fixes when it comes to the climate crisis. Weather manipulation might offer short-term solutions, but addressing the root causes of climate change will require systemic changes, including reducing carbon emissions, transitioning to renewable energy, and protecting natural ecosystems. So, can we really control the weather? The answer is both yes and no. While we have the technology to influence weather patterns to some extent, true control remains out of reach. Weather manipulation techniques like cloud seeding and geoengineering offer potential solutions to specific problems, but they come with significant risks and ethical dilemmas. As we continue to grapple with the challenges of climate change, the question of whether we should control the weather may be even more important than whether we can. In the end, weather manipulation is a powerful tool that could be used for good, but it also has the potential to create new problems. The science is promising, but it's not a silver bullet. The future of weather control will depend not only on technological advancements but also on our ability to navigate the complex ethical questions it raises.